Victoria and I have been married for 8 years, building a stable and comfortable life together. Over time, we developed a rhythm we both relied on. With 2 children, we navigated the usual highs and lows of marriage and parenting. Yet through it all, I remained content in our relationship. However, last Saturday shattered that sense of security. Victoria's friend Madison invited us to a party. I didn't know Madison well, but Victoria was eager to go. She assured me it would be fun, emphasizing that with our children spending the weekend at my mother's, there was no reason not to attend. "Come on," she urged, her eyes gleaming with excitement. "It'll be nice to step out of our usual circle for once. Everyone will be there." I agreed, thinking a change of scenery might do us some good. In hindsight, I wish I had questioned what exactly she meant by different. The party was vibrant. Laughter filled the air, music pulsed through the room, and glasses clinked in celebration. At first, it seemed like any other gathering. But as the night progressed, I noticed subtle but unsettling details. Prolonged glances, lingering touches, a man I didn't recognize smiling at Victoria. What unsettled me most was that she smiled back. A gut instinct warned me something was off. "Grayson," Victoria said playfully, touching my arm. "You look so serious. Have a drink." She handed me a cocktail. The moment I took a sip, I realized it was much stronger than I expected. I tried to shake off the unease, convincing myself I was overthinking. Then Madison's husband, Joe, clapped his hands, gathering everyone into the living room. Holding a large glass bowl, he beamed and announced, "All right, everyone, it's time for the raffle." The crowd erupted in cheers, and Victoria's face lit up with excitement. I leaned toward her, my voice low with suspicion. "What kind of raffle is this?" Before she could answer, Joe declared, "Ladies, toss your keys into the bowl. Gentlemen, you'll each draw a set of keys and spend the night with the owner. No strings attached." The words hit me like a punch to the gut. The atmosphere shifted. Conversations turned to hushed murmurs, and an air of anticipation spread across the room. Reality sank in. I turned to Victoria, my pulse hammering. "Did you know about this?" I asked, my voice barely steady. She met my gaze without hesitation, a small, almost amused smile tugging at her lips. "Yes," she admitted, her tone disturbingly calm. A cold sensation washed over me. "And you didn't think to tell me?" She gave a slight shrug. "I knew you'd react this way, that you wouldn't accept it, so I didn't mention it." I could barely comprehend her words. "It's just one night, Grayson," she continued, as if that explained everything. "People do it all the time. They say it's good for relationships." My stomach churned. "Victoria, I thought we were coming to a regular party. Not this." She let out an exasperated sigh, rolling her eyes. "We're already here. Why not give it a try? You're making this a bigger deal than it is." "A bigger deal?" I repeated, barely suppressing a bitter laugh. "You really believe that sleeping with someone else means nothing?" Her expression tightened, arms crossing over her chest. "Grayson, I'm tired of everything feeling the same. Sometimes I feel invisible, just a mom, just a wife. I need this. I need to feel seen, desired." Her words felt like knives twisting inside me. My voice was low but firm. "So another man makes you feel that way?" I swallowed hard. "What about me? Isn't that my place?" Her gaze dropped to the floor. When she spoke, her voice was soft but unyielding. "Just for tonight. This isn't about love. It has nothing to do with emotions." The weight of her words was suffocating. I took a step back, grappling with the raw betrayal pressing against my chest. "You want me to just go with the flow?" She lifted her head, meeting my eyes, and in that moment I realized she had already made her choice. Victoria's expression was resolute, her stance unwavering. "You don't understand, Grayson. This isn't about love. It's just one night, a way to reignite the spark in our marriage, to add some excitement." A storm of doubt and anger churned within me. "We're leaving. Now." My voice carried a sharp edge as I grabbed her arm, guiding her firmly toward the living room. Around us, the guests eagerly gathered near the bowl, their anticipation almost palpable. Their eyes gleamed, eager to draw keys and exchange partners for the night. Victoria resisted, trying to pull away, but I held my ground. Taking a steady breath, I turned to the room, my voice cutting to the hum of excitement. No one thought to mention what kind of party this was. I swept my gaze over the crowd before making my stance crystal clear. I will not be sharing my wife tonight, or ever. This is beyond absurd. Without hesitation, I reached into the bowl, scooping up a handful of keys, each attached to a bright red keychain. Holding them up, I made my final statement. Marriage is sacred. I won't tolerate this kind of betrayal. A few people murmured, but I paid them no mind. Victoria's face was flushed, a mix of anger and embarrassment evident in her expression. I turned to her, my patience hanging by a thread. You have a choice. Come with me now and leave this behind, or stay here, but don't expect me to wait for you. As I walked out, silence fell over the room. All eyes were on her. She inhaled sharply, the weight of the moment pressing down on her. Finally, she spoke, her voice tinged with irritation. I apologize for my husband's overreaction, she said, her gaze lingering on the crowd. I want to stay, but I think I'd better go. She followed me to the car, and the moment she slid into the seat, she turned on me, her anger barely restrained. You're unbelievable. Do you have any idea how humiliating that was? I'll never be invited to anything like that again. You've embarrassed me. I gripped the wheel, struggling to stay calm. And why didn't you tell me you planned to spend the night with someone else? She exhaled sharply. We could have made this work, Grayson. You could have chosen a woman, and we could have had fun together. I scoffed. I don't want another woman, Victoria. We've been together for 8 years, and I've been faithful to you. This is how you repay that. Disgust welled up inside me, but I kept my voice steady. It's just one night, Grayson. Just once. After everything we've shared, is that really too much to ask? Yes, it is too much to ask. My hands tightened on the wheel. This isn't some small request. This is our marriage. I slammed on the brakes, my chest rising and falling with labored breaths. But if it means that much to you, fine. Without another word, I turned the car around, heading back toward Madison's house. Victoria gasped as the car swerved. Grayson. I pushed forward, my voice flat and emotionless. If you need to be with another man so badly, go. The tires screeched as we sped down the road. Her face turned pale. What are you saying? I'm saying if this is what you truly want. Then go find someone else. Clearly, I'm not enough. Her voice wavered. It's just an adventure, Grayson. Something different. You mean everything to me, but I need this. I exhaled, my voice turning cold. Well, I don't want anything else. I have been unwaveringly loyal to her, never once questioning our vows. But now, everything was different. If you insist on doing this, we're finished. Victoria's hand trembled on the door handle. Her eyes flickered with uncertainty as she asked, Will you still pick me up tomorrow morning? I met her gaze without hesitation. I'm sure whoever you end up with tonight will be more than happy to take you home. Her expression darkened with resentment. You're being impossible, Grayson. That's not what this is. I scoffed. That's exactly what this is, Victoria. You're choosing to spend the night with someone else. She turned away, exhaling slowly. It's just one night. It's not a big deal. I let out a bitter laugh. For you, maybe, but for me it's too much of a night. Unyielding, I met her gaze. If you go through with this, we're done. Victoria rolled her eyes, as if I were blowing things out of proportion. You're overreacting, Grayson. I'll be back tomorrow, and this will all be forgotten. I shook my head, my voice firm. No, Victoria. If you walk through that door, don't bother coming back. She shrugged, her expression almost amused, as if she thought I was being dramatic. Grayson, we're married. We'll get past this. Cold determination settled over me. If you go in there, it's over. She hesitated, gripping the doorknob for a fleeting moment before opening the door with a smirk. See you in the morning, Grayson. No, you won't. I murmured as I drove away, leaving her standing alone in the driveway. I wanted her to realize her mistake, to call me and beg for forgiveness, but the phone never rang. Instead, fury and betrayal consumed me. She had thrown away everything we built for one night with a stranger. When I got home, my anger was too raw to think clearly. I grabbed a bag and started stuffing it with clothes, not caring what I packed. Then my phone rang. It was her. I hesitated before answering. Her tone was casual, as if nothing had happened. "Hey," she greeted, as though this were a normal night. I ended up talking to some guy. I think his name is Sebastian. Her words struck me like a physical blow. "Are you seriously calling to tell me this, Victoria?" She sighed, exasperated. "Calm down, Grayson. Everything will go back to normal tomorrow. Trust me, this will make us stronger." A rage I had never known welled up inside me. I hurled the phone onto the table, my chest heaving. She had no idea how deeply she had wounded me. Then, out of the corner of my eye, I noticed the call was still active. A soft, breathy whisper reached my ears. "Oh my God, this feels so good." Her voice grew louder, filled with pleasure. "Please." A fire ignited in my veins. My hands clenched into fists. Instead of smashing the phone, I hit the record button. She had chosen to destroy our marriage. I needed proof of just how far she had gone. Not that I believed she would care if she knew I was listening. I stormed into our bedroom, yanking clothes and essentials from the closet, and shoving them into my suitcase. Every movement felt like an attempt to reclaim my dignity. I carried the bags in my car, but before leaving, I stepped back inside one last time. My eyes landed on our wedding photo, our smiles frozen in time. A bitter laugh escaped me as I ripped it from the frame and tossed it aside. Then I reached for our marriage certificate, tearing it in half and letting the pieces flutter to the floor. It was nothing more than a lie now. With my belongings packed, I walked out of the home we had shared, my heart shattered. I drove straight to a hotel, desperate to escape the remnants of the life I no longer recognized. I needed time to think, to plan my next move, but deep down I already knew. Forgiving her would never be an option. That night, I lay awake, my thoughts a tangled mess. Unable to bear it any longer, I called my friend Josh, who agreed to meet me at a nearby bar. As we sat down, I poured out everything to him. He listened intently, his expression somber. Placing a firm hand on my shoulder, he said, "You don't have to go through this alone. My cousin is a lawyer. He can help. We'll ensure your assets are protected, and you'll only be responsible for child support, not half of everything you work for." His words hit me hard. "But what about the kids?" I asked, my voice laced with both fear and sorrow. Josh exhaled deeply, weighing his words. "It won't be easy, but the evidence you could work in your favor in court." After considering everything, I returned to the hotel, still tormented by my thoughts. The next morning, as I wrestled with my emotions, my phone rang. It was Victoria. I hesitated, but finally answered. "What do you want, Victoria?" I asked, making no effort to mask my cold tone. She let out a shaky sigh. "You really think I have an agenda, Grayson? I just want you to come home," she pleaded. I took a deep breath, steadying myself. "After what you did, that's impossible." "Grayson, please, don't say that. It was just one night. Okay, for times, but today I need you." "You don't understand." Her voice cracked, growing frantic. "Victoria, what you did isn't something that can just be undone. It wasn't a simple mistake. You crossed a line," I said, struggling to keep my voice steady. "But I love you, Grayson," she whispered desperately. "It's not about you. It's about what I needed." And that was the problem. "That's just it, Victoria," I replied bitterly. "You only thought about yourself. Not me, not our child." Summoning all my strength, I made the decision I had been dreading. I filed for divorce. "You'll receive the legal papers next week." She broke down, sobbing, swearing she never meant to hurt me. She insisted she didn't care about Sebastian or Stephanie. It had only been about feeling wanted. She claimed it was supposed to bring us closer, to save us, but it was too late. "This is the path you chose, Victoria," I said, my voice firm with finality. 6 grueling months later, the divorce was finalized. The court granted her custody of the children and house, leaving me with visitation rights on weekends. I watched my children's lives unfold from a painful distance. It took time to process it all, to accept that my old life was gone for good. But I persevered. I poured myself into my work and started anew. Slowly, I began to cherish my weekend with my children, treating every moment as sacred. Over time, I realized that despite all I had lost, I hadn't lost everything. I still had love, family, and the strength to rebuild. And with that realization, I found peace.